can we get into ba-ba-doo, ba-ba-dee-dee-dee?
Listen.
Okay.
I have a problem.
Okay. It's a safe
because
space. What is
everyone knows that JT's leaving, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of like, when? Why are you still here? And now I'm like, this show's so dumb right now because this dude's causing so much fake drama. And you're gone. Like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, why are you here? You already said you're leaving. Fucking leave already.
They
so now I
honestly
feel like
should have
I'm
cut
just
him out
I
as much as
feel like I'm
possible.
watching just stupid stuff.
No, I see your point. I think it was a mistake on the editing team to not just cut him out as much as possible.
Let's not blame the editors. That's the EPs.
Okay, fine.
Or the
If
story
whomever,
producers.
They need to just streamline his. It's like on The Bachelor or The Golden Bachelor or any of these shows. When you, or it would never be on those shows because these women don't have restraining orders. It's just the dudes. When they find out that this guy that they thought had main character energy has this restraining order, they start to just quickly wrap it up, and pull him off, play this music and pull him off the stage. I feel like that's what they should be doing with JT, and for whatever reason, they're not.
I think that they're not because they're using him and this whole thing about him leaving as drama. Like they told us about it, 2 months before the show even started so that we would start looking for it, like tracking him, like what's going to happen? Why does he leave? Because something obviously has to go massively awry and like come to a head at some point. So I'm looking at this whole thing like it's just marketing 101, like not market, but just like promotional fucking. They're just running it like it's ads. Okay, take it from the top of Southern Charm.
Yeah.
We're not going to go as hardcore. Well, who knows? We're going to try not to go as hardcore as last time.
Speak for yourself.
We don't want to, set everybody up to think like, oh, if I start watching the show, it's going to be 90 minutes of talking about a Bravo show.
You know what's cool about YouTube? It's like right on the bottom. It'll tell you how long the video is. You don't even have to guess. It'll tell you.
Yeah, I know. I wish we could hide that. So people will know, like, God, I don't want to spend my whole entire lunch hour trying to figure out if Craig got those pair of Gucci gardening clogs yet. He's seconds away. Did you, like, when he came out and he was gardening today, doesn't it just seem like he's seconds away from owning, like, a pair of, like, Fendi gardening clogs?
I don't think so because if in order to get Fendi gardening clogs, you wouldn't let an umbrella fall on your flowers.
Also, Fendi would have to make gardening clogs, and I don't think they do.
I feel like I have to take one little phone call from a little Miss Paige DeSorbo. I'm not sure if you heard of her.
Anyway, at the top of the show, we have a clip of Shep showering. I'm good. Or getting out of the shower. I don't need to see any more shirtless Sheps. We got it in the first episode. Well, it's not like all of a sudden he came back this season and he's fucking, who's that guy? Yes, Chef. From The Bear.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like he's that guy in a pair of Calvin Kleins. Like,
no, I'm telling
film
you,
the whole season naked.
No, now I feel like the production's probably like, oh, we'll be there at 9 a.m. And he's like, okay, cool. And he's like, waits till like 8:57 and he just hops in the shower and then...
Be right out, guys.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I'm still in the shower. You guys can come in, though. I don't want to waste your time. Also, leave it to Shep. This is so fucking Shep. To call his new boo and go, I just took a shower. Like, dudes be announcing that they showered today like they won a fucking gold star on the chore board.
No, that's not why.
Why?
Sometimes it would lead to some sexy talk.
When a camera's crew is there?
Listen, Shep is smart, but he's not that smart. Dudes are dumb.
This is how you know someone met on Raya, because they say, oh, we met on a dating app.
Are they not allowed to say the word Raya?
I don't think so.
Oh, that's right. I was just listening to that the other day, and someone said that they literally just said that they met the person on Raya and that they got an email the next day that they were no longer a member of Raya.
Yeah, they're like the mob. Like, they're just, maybe they exist, they don't, we've heard of them. And clearly that's where he met his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Of course, he's dating like a 26-year-old girl.
Yeah.
And he's 46 or she's 24 and he's 40. I don't know what it is. It's a solid 18-year age difference, which it's fine. You can have a large age difference, but I don't give a shit who you are. It's telling me something about who you are.
Especially if they don't even live in the same place. Like, if you're going out of your way to date a woman that doesn't even live, she like lives in the Bahamas.
Yeah.
And she's 20 plus years younger than you.
Or I think it's a 20 to 18 year difference. And I would like to clarify because I've always dated up.
Yeah.
But one time I dated someone who was 26 years older than me. And it's a massive difference. Like, even when the person's cool and has all the bells and whistles going and all that stuff, like, it's different than dating someone who's like 11 years older than you. Maybe 15 is still a big gap, but like there's still some generational stuff that you guys can vibe on. When you get to the point that you could literally be my parent, there's just a different vibe there. There is.
There definitely is. And I think it takes it to another level when the girl is 20 something as opposed to a 40 something and a 60 something. Like,
yes, agreed.
Like, because I did that when I first moved to LA. The guy who's now passed was significantly older. Dana was significantly older than me. When I look back at it now, I do remember him like mentioning something like him saying like, you're just very untainted. And that was being nice of him trying to say like, you haven't loved, you haven't lost, you haven't like had like, there's just a roller coaster of life that like, I just feel
hasn't
like
thrown you off.
Yeah,
of it
you
yet.
haven't thrown off a roller coaster yet. And I hadn't. And I thought it was so ridiculous. Like, do you want someone who's gone through like horribleness? Like that didn't make sense to me. But now I think about just like even just when your friends tell you about situations, like things that I thought about them, like I'm so glad to have gone through some of the shit that I have because I judge little like next to nothing at this point.
You
like,
wouldn't know by the
anyone
show.
does. Oh yeah, on the show I'm judging everyone. But like on anyone that tells me something about their life, I'm always like, oh, I could see, I might do that.
You are
like,
very much like that.
Yeah.
It's interesting also for his current situation that he's going on where he's had this spiritual awakening. He's gotten healthy for the first time in his life or the first time in a decade. He had this medicine journey with ayahuasca and all this stuff. And now it's like, and now I'm dating this amazing girl who, you know, I'm not saying you can't be amazing at 26. You absolutely can. But I just think it's exactly what you just said. There isn't that like seasoning there. You haven't lived through a bunch of stuff that maybe, for the most part, of course, you can be 26 and have, God forbid, lost a parent, have 3 children, all of this stuff.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem like that's who he's dating.
Right.
And then when he got into the whole section of him, this is why I'm like, your ayahuasca trip was bullshit, Shep.
Yeah.
It didn't change you. I've seen the light. Jesus saved me. Bullshit. You're sitting there being like, you know, she's really just impressive. And all of Taylor's family, including her grandparents, still wish that I was with her. And, you know, she's not running a basically defunct alcohol company. She got into med school. She's Miss Bahamas. And it's like, I'm sure she's wonderful and takes in blind kittens and teaches children with disabilities. I'm sure she is the next Princess Di, okay? But that doesn't mean that you have to shit all over Taylor. It's so gross.
But super grateful for people who think that they're really like convincing you of something when in fact they're convincing you of something. It's clear as day that like why they're doing what they're doing, why they're saying what they're saying.
They're trying to convince themselves.
Yes, exactly. But also obsessed with you thinking the way that they want to think of this person. Like Shep is dying for you to get on his team.
Yes.
That's also something we talked about. Like where if you don't let him speak his, I would say speak his truth, but it's not his truth. Speak his piece. Speak his piece. Then he gets livid about it. He does not know how to cope with it. Like all coping skills he go
snaps
out the door. Yeah.
Anytime you are dating someone and they speak poorly about their exes, first of all, do the math because it's only a matter of time before you become that person. But also, if this person's such a monster, then why did you spend a year of your life with them? And I get that, yes, people are in abusive relationships. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about in the relationship that Shep and Taylor had.
Yeah.
She seemed to be a sweet girl and really love him. He seemed to really love her and they had good times together. So just let her. Okay, maybe she's made some mistakes. Newsflash, so have you, Shepherd.
Yeah.
You got some issues over there also. You're trying to sit here being like, no, I've never done anything wrong. Or I have, but I've, what's it when you, what for your sins? Not amend for your sins. You repent for your sins. Okay, great. If you really did see the light, you wouldn't be bagging on her so badly.
Yeah.
Just let her be with Gaston. Yeah. Let her be happy.
Like being divorced at a really young age, I feel like the way that Shep judges, it's as if he's never been through anything real or like accepted that something real happened to him or Like, it's just,
he's the definition of privilege.
Yeah.
And he doesn't get it. And he gets it on a cerebral level.
Yeah.
But I don't really think he gets it on an active day-to-day level, because you threw her away like yesterday's garbage.
Yeah.
You no longer wanted to be with her.
yeah.
So she can go and hook up
Yeah.
with whoever she wants. She has no loyalty
Oh,
left
yeah.
to you.
When we were talking about that last week, I guess I just want to clarify. I was talking shit on Austen for always, like, I think that was a bad move on Austen's part.
Totally.
To do that. For her, go with God. I think that she's probably learned a lot about herself, and she's probably going to be a lot less judgmental towards other women that she comes across that might do things that they
Totally.
aren't totally proud of and whatever, because everyone has been in that spot where they've just done something to keep a relationship together
Yes.
or to quiet that feeling of like awfulness.
I know this isn't right,
Yeah.
but like, let's paint some red flags
Yeah,
white.
exactly.
I also am not sitting here trying to say that Taylor's perfect. She's made no mistakes.
No.
What
I think
I'm-
that Taylor was a case study of what
Same.
what happens when you get your heart broken.
1,000%.
And you're in your 20s.
1,000%, or
Yeah.
early 30s, because I think she might be like 31 or 29, somewhere like in
Yeah.
that area. I think what she's gotten really right is the fact that she isn't sitting around and talking smack about Shep ad nauseum.
She did hit him back with she put out a statement about how you think that my parents are so wishing that we were still together. The guy that cheated on me and broke my heart. You think that my parents are no. They are not. She kind of gave it to him. It was pretty
Good.
good.
She
Yeah.
should say that.
Yeah.
So that gave me the ick
Yeah.
when he did all of that. I just think it's so typical. Like, oh yeah, now you're healed and you've got your, 20-something-year-old girlfriend, and this has nothing to do with his girlfriend. It's just all about
No,
Shep.
she seems great. But
Yeah.
I also think that this could be like an identity relationship for him right now, where he's like, look, she's totally different from me.
Yes,
Like,
I was taken aback.
Yeah.
By the only things that he really had to say about her was her face doesn't look like anyone else's
Yeah.
face. She is the most beautiful person in any room. I just could stare at her all day long.
Yeah.
Like, if someone was in love with me and yes, of course, it's so lovely for you to think that I'm beautiful, but how about she is the funniest person I've ever met. We laugh all day long. I
Yeah.
love the way her mind works. She's so thoughtful. She's so good with animals. She's such a good cook. There is a myriad of things that one could say to compliment another person that they have hopefully fallen in love with, and they're bringing on a reality TV show. And if all you got in your pocket is her face doesn't look like anyone else's,
Yeah.
do you even know me? What's my middle name?
and like I feel like he like said like 2 or 3 times, like, I love your hair like that. Don't
Yes.
change it. As if she
Yes.
was going to, but it was like, he was like trying to act like, because it's so exotic right now. Like he's really just is
No,
like
he's really
like,
pushing for like, I'm
trying.
open.
Yeah, reaching. Yeah.
Yeah, that whole scene was a little gross
Mike,
to me.
what do you think about that?
Do you have any thoughts, Mike?
Shep is Shep. Yeah, I don't think nothing's changed. His ayahuasca thing was for fun.
And a story.
I don't think it was as much for a story as I think it was like he hit rock bottom, had 72 hours of being blackout drunk, and he's like, what's the quickest way
No
to
one's
not be
answering
in
my
this?
phone.
Right. What's
No
the
other
quickest way to
phones.
not be in this spot? Like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm going to go do ayahuasca. I've heard that heals people.
Yeah.
Instead of, getting into a program or
Yeah.
therapy or whatever. And maybe he is in therapy. He just hasn't talked about it. So
If Shep goes to therapy, I almost think it's anti. I don't think someone like Shep should go to therapist unless it's like fucking hardcore. She's like getting whipped.
no, I think Shep would be one of those people to like go to a counselor, which there's nothing wrong with counselors. I just mean like instead of saying like, I'm going to go see
like
my
his church
pastor
counselor? Yeah,
or something like
no,
that. And
that
it's like,
tracks.
let's just go see
Pastor,
a
anyone he could just like leave a check on the table afterwards and
tithing,
yeah,
some
and be like, we're
goodwill.
all good, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
By the way, I made a note. Sienna, whatever. I think her name's Sienna. She is 26. And I think he's at least 44.
Yeah.
So anyway,
When Austen came on, and when he first shows up and he's like putting on some like serums, like at first glance, I thought that Austen was wearing the same peptide serum that I wear, which is like.
The Ordinary.
No, it's like I don't know. It's by like the snail jizz people. So
Yes, CosRX or something.
something like that.
Yeah, I love their stuff.
Which I was even at that I was like, my dude, like you should be wearing better serums than me, like my drugstore serum.
I like that drugstore
You know
serum.
what
I'm standing by
saying, though, but that was my
K-Beauty.
first
But yeah.
glance. But then I realized it was self tanner that he was putting on his face.
No.
Well, did you? Because he had the glove thing on and he went like that. I wish I could have seen Austen later that day because it would have just been a
Streak.
yeah, the second that shit dries.
Like when you think you're cleaning your windshield.
Yeah.
And then you get in direct sunlight and you're like,
What? Yeah, yeah. I also have an issue with self tanner on your face because unless you were like born like blessed poreless, all I can imagine is just like
yes.
like brown dots all over in your pores. Like I don't know.
She's doing it for the cam.
Yeah.
More rouge.
Yeah.
I didn't know what that was. I'm glad. I mean, I'm kind of wishing I still didn't know what that was.
I only know what it was because of the glove, because I have that same glove that they give you when you buy the Saint Tropez stuff. Yeah.
He's in the car and he's calling his mom.
Yeah.
And they're talking about his new girlfriend, right? Because he was driving to...
Which I always get confused, like when he was like, oh, I got to go to Craig's house. If I want to see Craig's, I got to go to his house. And it looked like he was like on a freeway. Like, do they live like far apart?
Well, in Charleston, 20 minutes is like, oh my God, dude. That's the farthest drive. That's so far.
It's like the opposite of LA. Like, you know how you could live 10 miles from me, but it could take you an hour?
Yeah.
You could live, right? Like 20 minutes, but you're traveling so far because it's not that there's
10 miles
traffic.
in Charleston is 4 towns over. Like 10 miles
funny.
here is the grocery store.
Yeah.
Austen seems bratty to me, and he doesn't give me any reason to be a brat. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't have a reason to be a brat, but he's bratty.
He's like the quintessential man-child who thinks that he's evolving and becoming this George Clooney kind of guy with his liquor brand and whatever. There's this great scene from Sex and the City where they're at Times Square Cafe in the bathroom. Basically, if your cab is empty, I'm sure this is everywhere, but in the city, if your cab is empty, your light is on. And so then you can pull, someone's flagging you down.
I remember this now. Yeah.
They pull over. That's how you know what taxis to flag down because the light's on.
Yeah.
And there are guys that are driving around just picking people up and their light's not on. But it's like, whatever. I could just fuck around with you for a little bit and then kick you out of my cab. And then when I'm really ready, I'm going to date someone, I'm going to turn my light on and the closest chick to my cab seems hot to me, I'm going to pick up and that's who I'm going to plan a life with. And they're talking about this analogy in Sex and the City and it's fucking brilliant. And that is Austen. Austen is a guy, he is the cab that has been driving around just picking chicks up without the light on just because it's like, well, even though I'm not on the clock right now, I'm lonely.
Yeah.
I could use some roadhead. Like, I want someone to, co-pilot this trip with me. And then finally, it seems like he turned his light on and he found this girl and he's acting like every other girl that he dated didn't live up to this shining moment that he's having with this new chick where he's talking to his mom and he's like, she's just great, isn't she, Mom? And we're all sitting around. It's like when you're at that wedding where the guy put his light on and picked up the closest chick next to him and you're all like, have they even met?
Yeah.
Like they were just both 40 and single and decided to give this shit a roll of the dice because they don't want to be single anymore. And he's trying to make fetch happen, or that's the vibe that I'm getting. And his mom is like, yeah, you just seem really happy. And it's like, right, because that's what Shep wanted right now. He turned his light on. This is who he picked up, and here we are. And I just am not buying.
You mean Austen?
Oh, sorry, Austen.
Yeah.
Shep, I feel like Shep did it too.
Because they're the same guy.
Person.
Yeah.
Correct. And it just annoys me, and it's just annoying to watch. Like I've dated this guy.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I'm giving you great material here, dude. Okay, we're really enjoying each other, but I can't commit. And okay, great. So then I'm gonna leave, but then stop calling me.
Yeah.
Because you don't get to get back in to the castle if you've said I'm over it.
Yeah.
Like, or I don't want to be in a committed relationship. If I don't want to be in a committed relationship either, then we can be non-committal together. But if I'm telling you, hey, I'm giving this my all, I really like you, I'd like to be BFGF, and you're still stringing me along the cab with no light on, but I could get inside and see where you drop me off, I'm good, bro.
Yeah.
I'm just going to fucking get in a cab that is going to drop me off at the destination I want to be at. And that's Austen, and it drives me insane.
Yeah. I think it's a toss-up between exactly what you said, because I know exactly who that guy is. I've seen that guy 100 times for sure. But I also think that these guys on these shows, the reason I even thought about this was from what Mike said. Well, we were talking about Molly, and he said, you said, it's really Like there's nothing worse than being like single in the South, a single girl from the South.
It's different. It's very different being single in the South. Yeah.
And he said, it's worse than being a single girl from the South, being a single girl on a reality show. Because if you get booed up, you're in. Nobody's getting kicked off. That's booed up. Like, and I had never thought about that. But then like, it takes me 2 seconds to like, no, that's true. Like if you're in a relationship, like it's like when you hire writers that are a team, it's like a twofer, you know? They're not relying on one person to just generate story. They know that if they've got two people, at least they can see like, oh, what are you guys doing today? Oh, where'd you guys go last weekend? Oh, how long is it? Like there's just always drama. There's always events to go. Like just couples have just like more of that kind of shit to, I don't know. So I think that these guys, like during their hiatus, I think they're like, who am I going to be next season? Like, and I think that Shep was like, I saw this girl from the Bahamas on Raya that I'm like, I think he might have pursued her more so than he would have normally. I don't see Shep being in a long distance relationship. Like, what the fuck is that? Like, Austen has been this like,
Austen is Teflon for women.
Yeah. And I had forgotten about Chelsea. Like, remember when we were talking about Olivia, and then you were like, oh, remember they went clam digging and she was so cool. And I'm like, I don't remember that. But then when you showed me her photo, I'm like, oh my God, that chick was fucking dope too.
That's what I mean. He's had a string of rad, grade A ladies.
So it makes me wonder, did he think like, oh, this is next, I'm going to be the relationship guy next season because I've been getting dragged for years. Like, remember how horrible he was to Sierra? From Summer House.
And Sierra is like...
she's America's sweetheart. Yeah.
I love her.
Yeah, and the fact that Paige was so into her, you're like, I already liked you, but now
you got this endorsement.
Yeah,
Jesus
exactly.
Christ.
Yeah.
I don't have great faith for Shep's relationship. I feel like he seems a little bit desperate and like nervous with her.
Oh yeah, he's like
with the shaky leg, and he's like,
"Hey, I'd love to get down there.
Yeah, I could jump on a plane anytime, but I don't want to mess things up for you." And it's like, do you guys even know? Have you met IRL?
Yeah,
just say like, "Hey, babe, like, just so you know, my schedule's pretty open right now. So if anything works for you, let me know. I'd love to come see you."
Yeah.
Or don't you have some kind of like cadence in which you see each other because you are in a relationship? Like they seemed very. We have sex with a condom on still.
More time up there. Are you just coming to this realization on FaceTime?
Is this a casting relationship?
Yeah, I get the vibe that she's busy. Like she seems like she's actually doing shit. Like Shep seems to be the child in that relationship, and
Shep's
he's
the
saying
child in
like,
every relationship.
Sure, but like. He's saying like, real, I'll fucking go to the Bahamas and hang out. I have that kind of money. I'll do whatever the fuck. Yeah. But you actually have responsibilities. I think he's nervous to go to the Bahamas and do dick all for fucking 3 months and have this girl be like,
oh my God.
Fuck, man, you don't do anything. You're just a fucking living off your parents' money and your couple restaurants that.
Which is probably what he does in
good.
South, wherever he is.
Dude, his condo is so fucking gross.
This is what I told you when we were talking last week. I was like, he has the worst taste, and I don't think he has
but
it
was
the
like
way you
dirty.
think.
Did you see his dresser? Like,
yes, he's like a frat boy.
Yeah, it's like it's IKEA furniture, like totally tipped over on its side.
Yes.
I feel like he bought one expensive chair, and that's what he got in to sit in. Like,
that's
I don't even
designed
know
for him.
Exactly. Okay, wait, Whitney in that tracksuit.
I am so deeply offended by his highlights.
I know.
They're so bad. And
everyone's trying something new for the new season opener. It's like the fucking horse races. They all got to get a new hat.
That's a departure we didn't need to take.
Yeah.
He thinks he's like Halston walking into Studio 54 with his like cheetah print shirt. And yes, if you're Rod Stewart taking the stage at Atlantic City, that shirt works. Yeah. It doesn't work for your dinner party in the South with your mom and antique bunnies.
Like shirling.
And it doesn't work. It doesn't work. I'm sorry. It doesn't work.
I know.
And I'm only going to be savage with him because of what happened at the end of the episode, which I'm not here for on any level. Okay, wait. So
don't forget Gaston and what's her name? And Taylor.
When they were playing tennis?
Yeah. Well, I think they were playing pickleball.
Perfect.
I think he was the cheesiest cheese dick. Babe, oh, you're doing so good, babe. But
isn't she cheesy?
Exactly. So I love this for her. This is
that's what I mean.
The perfect
like
relationship for her to spend the next 8 to 14 months of her life with.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
Like, it's totally lovely. It's a nothing burger to me.
Yeah.
I think the golfing trip, I had to rewind that scene and watch it multiple times because I couldn't for the life of me understand that JT was pulling this thin of an argument out of the sheer blue sky.
That's what I was saying earlier.
Bananas.
Like this season is starting so slow and so boring because everyone knows JT's not going to be there. So, like, in my opinion, there's nothing to wait for. I'm not hanging on to JT. I don't give a fuck why you're there or why you left. Just go, leave. Like, JT seems like he went to the library, got a book on how to be a reality TV star in 21 days, and then was like, I can fucking do this. And now he's doing all those things that were in the book. Yeah. He's like, oh, chapter 4 says, make shit up and scream real loud. All right, you guys ready? I'm ready. Are we rolling? Like, he's so fucking textbook reality guy, but he's not good at it. He's so shitty at it.
Because he also keeps talking about how much money he has. And if money,
But he also doesn't.
No, but this is my point. It doesn't matter if he has all this money or doesn't. When you're trying to make having money be your personality, newsflash, you don't have a personality.
I don't mean he doesn't have money. I mean he doesn't he's playing the mystery game, right? If I tell you how much money I have, then you know I don't have money. But if I tell you I have 3 Airbnbs and this one's 8 and 9 and that's 19 bedrooms or whatever, and it's zoned to be a hotel, it's valuable.
And I commissioned this painting from my mom and my sister. You didn't commission anything. You asked them to paint something for a wall in your hotel.
Yeah, and also, it wasn't good. So bad. It was so horrible.
JT is trying to make the fact that whether he is or isn't, for this conversation, let's just say that he has some wealth, that's his personality. Like, oh, when I was redoing my hotel, like, just talk like a fucking normal person.
Yeah.
When I was at work, like, I'm really fortunate. I'm able to work on this passion project. We're redoing hopefully what will turn into a great hotel. You can say it and not sound like a douchebag, but because he's so insecure, he's just trying to talk about his wealth.
Yeah.
He'll be tall enough when he stands on his wallet. He'll be cool enough when he has a beautiful wife. Like, that's his insecurity talking instead of realizing, like, dude, just be who you are. And I bet you that's better than all this fucking gobbledygook about your hotels and your 3 Airbnbs and your fucking Costa Rican vacations.
That is who he is. That's who JT is.
When you start off a scene with saying, I don't identify as rich, and then like the edit is like, just does him so dirty with a montage of him in like a fucking green, like a plaid and paisley blazers with like the white crisp collared shirts that's like buttoned down like 2 slots past like the max capacity of buttons. The Ray-Bans like dangling in between his
pectorals.
Like that's so JT to like bring in like.
That's what I mean. Like when you're like, oh, he talks about it, and I was like, but he doesn't. I didn't mean, but he doesn't have money. I mean, but he doesn't talk about being rich. But that's how he talks about being wealthy. Is like, I don't identify as being rich. I have these things. Like, he's not flat out being like, oh, I have money. He's being sly about it. Like, that's what I meant when I'm like, but he's not.
I think that him speaking this way is gross. It's not a personality. It's him just trying to be cool, even though it's not cool. And I think that if he actually did some work on himself and stopped, if someone said for 30 days,
that's never gonna happen with JT.
Know, but
what I hate about this,
but it's not. Like,
you're right. I'm not saying you're not right.
And like you said this like before the season started about how like I feel like JT's one of those guys. If he's the kind of guy that I would get sat next to at a wedding and be like, he is really one of the loveliest people I've ever met. I get the feeling that he is actually a very good person who was offered a job to do something that is on a show that's 10 years in and really hard to like catch up to, find his spot, get in where he fits in. He's made all the wrong decisions. I feel like in real life, I feel like this guy you can depend on. I feel like he's solid. He's really sweet, all the things. And getting this opportunity might be the worst thing that could have ever happened to someone like him. Because I think that JT, if he could just fucking find a girlfriend out on, like, JT is successful. He is smart. He's kind. He's trying really hard. He wants to be liked.
And he wants to do the right thing.
He wants to do the right thing.
About him.
Yes. I also like take a page from what you said, where I think that during hiatus, he went back and like watched all the housewives and like then honed in on like made a list of like who's a season 3 or longer. And then went back and tracked what was their story arc to get them that 3rd season, 4th season spot. He's the fucking Whitney of Salt Lake.
Yeah.
Bringing up that, well, I heard this. Well, we should go confront. Well, we should ask her about it. And Craig's like, we don't need to ask anyone about anything.
Yeah.
Like, but he's seen this in action, that this is what keeps the drama going. Like, you just want to yell, like, do less. Like everything he's doing, do less. Bro, oh my God, please. I think that this is going to be the worst year of his life because he is trying so hard to get into a place that like he just is not built for this place. And and that is, listen, you hear how we talk about every fucking guy on this show. That is not a bar to reach for. Like, you're obviously doing well. It seems like you have a lovely family. Go live your life, be successful, find a girl that's not on this show. Like, don't, like, this is like, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of working in entertainment. You know that there's like a million people behind you waiting for your job. So you're like trying to do, like, even though you're like, this is the worst job I've ever had. But like, you never
think you would do X, Y, and Z.
Exactly.
Meanwhile, you've done A, B, C, D, X, Y, Z. Are there more letters we could throw into this?
Yeah, exactly. Check in with yourself for 5 seconds and be like, what am I doing here?
But don't you think that it could be a possibility that that's what happened and that's why he exited the show?
I hope that it was his choice, because like it's sounding like it might not have been. Like, it's almost like he came out with the story. It's like, again, these are just like the rumors and the blogs and whatever, that it's just like
the rumors and the nastiness.
Yeah.
Oh, that was great.
Anyway, I love Meredith and her weird accents.
It's so strong.
I mean, I hate all of them, but like there's some of them are going on me just because they're older women, and I just like.
By the way, they're not that much older than us. I'm just letting
I know. But like the way that they carry themselves is as if they are the madams of the
madams of the home.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. How I say that Austen wants to be Shep, JT wants to be Craig, and I feel like JT is so confused right now about like. But Craig is gossiping all over town. Craig's tattling on everyone. Well, I'm doing the same things Craig is doing, and it's getting me nowhere. And Craig is just like only moving up, like, because Craig is a little tattletale.
But this is where I get frustrated with the show, and frustrated in a good way because love to hate it. When they were at that golfing thing, okay? Craig's like, I gotta go. I'm not going to listen to you talk about Austen that way. He's my best friend. Meanwhile, Austen's talking smack about you.
Yeah.
But like, if I ever want to see Craig, I have to go to him. And it's saying he's got like a litany of things that annoy him about his apparently his best friend.
Yeah.
And it's like, Craig, why are you walking out on a conversation when he wouldn't have your back like that, clearly, because he's sitting here talking poorly about you.
When Craig does like get up and walk out, when like you're a veteran enough to know that like, oh, I want to be doing something else right now. Yeah. So I can use this to like walk out and like be done with filming today. Because
also
like,
the scene's tanking and I don't want to be a part of it.
Yeah, exactly. He just opened a restaurant with Austen. And I think
Craig?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they have a restaurant, a bar, restaurant, lounge, whatever in Charleston. And I think that Craig is, I think probably a lot of people, like Bravo people, are probably like this, and like it's probably wise to be, but are so gun shy from like the Sandoval and like Shorts and Sandy's, how that's closing, like how that shit gets out. No one takes cheating lightly. If they get to know this girl and they like her and then find out that Austen, like that could kill their business. Like we've watched it, you know. I don't think that it could ever be as big as Scandal because we don't know this girl from a fucking wall. Yeah. But like Austen does have a track record of fucking with girls. Yeah. And I feel like Craig is so uber focused on, I think he's just trying to match Paige in life. Like really, I think that's what he does. Like with his entire thing is not so much about what's in
which
him.
I love.
Which is like all the same to me. It's all good. But I think that that's why he was like, do not say another word. I will walk out right now. Buddy, I'm telling you, you will not talk to me anymore. Like the way that he was saying it was it seemed like it was so pointed at something so specific. Yeah. And like that's what I can trace it back to.
I actually like those conspiracy theories because I was wondering, why are you so
drama about this?
Why are you drawing such a hard line in the sand about this? Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
I died when he was like, I actually don't even like calling them conspiracy theories with JT. He's like, gives it a bad name.
It's disrespectful to the people who know the truth.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
exactly.
there you go.
You know that Paige also doesn't believe that we moon landed?
Now she doesn't?
She doesn't. I saw a clip of her. She was like, okay, so you're telling me that like they called us from the moon, but like I can't even get cell service in Charleston? Like, come on.
Yeah, no, Paige, I live for you, and I think you're the prettiest princess ever. We've landed on the moon.
Paige, I'm with you. We didn't.
Mike, do you believe the moon is made of cheese and we haven't landed on it either?
Why do I have to believe that it's made of cheese?
Conspiracy theorists, like flat earthers and conspiracy theorists and whatever, one of the things they say is the moon is made of cheese.
Why haven't we been back?
Haven't we?
No.
Russia and other countries have been.
Have they? Russia
Other
landed
country-
on the moon?
Other countries have landed on the moon. I also feel like you haven't said anything about Molly, and I like Molly.
Molly she's absolutely useless to me at this point.
Wait, Fat Molly?
Oh my God, she's not.
Just kidding.
I'm gonna call you
So
Fat Mike.
If the story does go how he said it went when JT is telling the story about Madison, they're on speakerphone. Hi, it's Madison and husband. That is peculiar, but I don't think the guy is like worried that he hooked up with Madison. I think that their long distance, that might have been like in the earlier part of their relationship. He might have not believed where she had said they were that night. I'm sure many women have been put on the spot where they're like, call him on speaker, and you got to fucking ask that question, where do we go? And then we went here, right? And then I think it's funny that he assumes that the guy must think that we hooked up.
I think JT's mind is hardwired to do the mental gymnastics because he doesn't, I think, want to look at the cold hard facts about certain things. And I get it. A lot of us, like, you've put on weight. You don't want to go on the scale and be like, oh God, it's that number. Okay, now I know. Or like, I've been spending a lot. I don't want to look at my bank account. I just think that's what he's constantly doing.
I think he heard the word truth teller somewhere. When Craig says, you're going to believe Leva or you're going to believe me. And he goes, I'm on the side of the truth. Also, don't like Leva, never did.
Really?
Not really.
I don't have anything for or against. You just seem okay. Well,
so like it just like he is going for I tell it like it is. I say what's really going on. Everyone else wants to pussyfoot around it. That's what he's glomming onto right now. Is like that's the spot he's trying to make.
His Achilles heel is, yeah, you're telling it like it is a quarter of the time, and then 3/4 of the time you're Nutty McNutterson.
Yeah. For some fucking reason, this ad keeps coming up on my TikTok, and it's Leva basically going, I'm going to this event and you guys get to choose my outfit. Like, who fucking, you choose your own fucking outfit. Like,
You really don't like her.
I don't like anyone on this fucking show.
You like a Thomas Ravenel.
No. I never
So you like Catherine?
I love Catherine.
Oh,
I miss her so much.
Catherine's a lightning rod.
Yeah.
But that is what the show's missing right now, is a lightning rod.
Yeah.
But the problem with Catherine is
so many. You don't even need to tell me what her problems are.
no,
so
but that's
many.
the thing. We got to the place where it's like, how it's like love to hate, then hate to hate. It just got too messy. Remember her fiance or boyfriend that she was with? Like their relationship was so messy that it's like, I don't want to watch this. I don't think anyone should be watching this. They shouldn't be in this relationship.
100%. That was not a real relationship.
But it doesn't matter if it was real or not, in the sense of what my point is. The way they would talk to each other and yell at each other and communicate with each other, it was so gross that I'm like, this isn't me watching Dorit and PK have a conversation that's like hard to watch. This is two human beings being brutal and disgusting to one another. And that I don't want to watch.
Yeah.
Can we go into Miss Pat's dinner? Because this was the cardinal sin of the entire episode.
What happened there?
The stupid conversation about she called you a bitch and she didn't. And so now it's like we're going to play Ring Around the Rosie about this dumb nothing, because he's leaving the show and he didn't say it. And then he's probably not even going to be at the friggin' reunion and Craig's going to get off scot-free. Like, oops, guess I was wrong. Oh, oops, I guess a man did land on the moon. Stop saying things if you don't know they're true, Craig. You and your conspiracy theories, even though I love Craig. I was so deeply offended when that girl Molly to do that trick with the cupcake and flip it over to a sandwich. And of all people, first of all, don't talk about other people's bodies. Like, how about that? And when he's like, oh, that's the last thing you need. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Is there a bag of milk talking to me? Because that's what you look like. He looks like a fucking bag of milk, right? Yes. And I'm so irritated that you think you get to comment with your highlights and your fucking hacky, I'm sure it's Dolce & Gabbana or whatever it is, top, like you're Brad Pitt or Marcus Schenkenberg or whoever these famous good-looking dudes are. Your Botox look bad, your highlights look bad, you have no jawline. Like, and I don't mean to be so nasty about it. I just think it's like, oh, do you like people saying that about you? No, so don't fucking embarrass her in front of a table full of people on national television. It's so not cool. I just get so hyper triggered when anyone, but specifically a dude, thinks that he can be like, oh, you think that you need a cupcake right now?
You don't.
It's just
I'm just looking at this and like literally 180 degree different. I think he gave her a fucking gift. She's the most boring person on the show right now. That phone call with her mother and the getting ready in her tiny ass bathroom. You just got told something that 1 million women in this country can rally around you. You got something now. You better fucking use it and not let it
and maybe she will. I can see how she seems like a very shy person on a certain level. So she didn't want to speak up at that table because she doesn't want to get on the bad side of Miss Pat, would be my judgment on that situation.
She did get permission to beat him up.
Just me being from Jersey, like I would have looked over at him and just verbally dismantled him.
Yeah. But even Madison was like, ugh, like she said something, but like very little. He's an executive producer on the show. Like, I don't think he's so dumb. I honestly think he was like doing her a solid. Like, I think he was running a show in that moment. Like,
but you, fine if you're running a show in that moment, but like you just don't run it like that. I just think that is
no, totally fine. But then show up with something because she showed nothing.
Fine,
nothing.
She can. I think they're not mutually exclusive things that we're talking about.
Yeah.
She could bring the heat when it comes to the show in a way better way than she's doing. I just think she seems like a sweet girl who's like trying to find her way, and but I root for the underdog.
Think about how Whitney has always, unless I'm not remembering someone, and I could not be, I think that the only person that he ever like really went to war with was Catherine in the beginning. I think she caught him slipping. He looked the other way, and then she made a target, and she got in there, and then she was in. Like, there was nothing they could do about it because she was good fucking TV. One thing I can always say good about Whitney is that I think he was raised well with very Southern manners. That's why I think this was so out of character for him to say at his mother's dinner table. Like, it doesn't add up. He knows better than that times 1,000. He knows better than to do that than Austen does, than Craig does, than anyone does.
Okay, but then if you're saying he's doing this from like an EP point of view.
Yeah.
You don't pick a lightning rod issue like going after a woman's weight.
That's what you pick.
Pick something else that you can have a leg to stand on with because you just look like, it's like saying something racist to someone. Fat shaming someone is saying something nasty to a disabled person, is saying like if someone is in a body that you don't think is up to par for whatever beauty standard you think should be how everybody looks, it's the same way as saying like
everything you're saying is I agree with. All the things you're saying I agree with. I'm not counting it because I think it was a purposeful move. Like that is literally. That's the only difference between like how if anyone else does this, I'm 1,000% with you, and I'm like going fucking hard for that guy and picking out all of his worst traits, all of his like you're like you dickless fucking wonder. Like I would be going fucking after them. This to me just seemed like not in Whitney's character, certainly not at his mother's dinner table, and also that he immediately says, "I've known her for 20 years. I can speak to her how I want to." So he's going to be able to get out of it by saying, we're friends. She knows I'm fucking around. We have a long relationship. We have a long history. We actually, like, I got her. I'm actually the one that recommended. Like, he's going to be able to get out of it. He's not an idiot. That's the thing. I'm not a Whitney fan.
think,
I just think that this was.
Could you imagine if a guy that you slept with called you
I'm,
fat?
That's what I'm trying
publicly?
to say to you. This is a situation to me that does not fall into any other guy on this show or any guy that I know or whatever.
But then
this seems to me like he's like, she's been, Howard, I've been getting the dailies, not a lot here. I don't know. Like, that, like, again, so what you're saying, yes, if it were anyone else, a billion
bet
times,
money.
yes.
Like, I was with you until you said the dailies. I don't
Well,
think
the dailies are
Whitney's
not even a
seen
real
daily
thing.
on
Like, they're
reality.
fucking like 90s TV.
I don't think Whitney's seen a cut in fucking 7 seasons.
Like,
I don't get
because
that-
he doesn't, like, he's not important enough to get them, or because he doesn't give a shit.
That,
Yeah.
or he just is like, yeah, no, I'm good.
Yeah, I think the show's rolling along. He shows up for a few scenes, cashes his paycheck.
Yeah, Whitney dipped out in halfway through season 2.
I agree
Season
with you.
3 for sure.
I
He wasn't
completely
even
Yeah,
in
because
season.
I don't think that Whitney likes to be a full-time cast member, because that is a commitment, and he gets the checks anyways.
That's what I mean. Like, he's getting the checks anyways.
Right.
You
So
guys seem
I
to be doing a
think
good
that
job. I just don't think he's seen any dailies or cuts or edits. Like, I don't think Whitney's going through the edits being like,
Sure. You don't think
Jane
Agreed.
Doe's
You don't
boring.
think anyone has
Let's
said
see
to
if I
him,
call her
"Oh,
fat."
your
Then
friend?
like Whitney's not doing it. Whitney's drinking fucking $2,000 whiskey. That was the most impressive thing. When he was drinking that bourbon and Miss Pat was like, "What is that?" And he's like, "Oh, fucking Peter Piper pickle eater or whatever the fuck he was drinking." And she was like, $2,000 whiskey. I looked it up. It is $2,000 to the penny.
Yeah.
That bottle of whiskey.
there are many levels of producers on shows. Like, some can be just fucking vanity credits, and others obviously have all the decision making in the world. I don't know where he stands on that list, but he was a fucking founder of the show. So I assume that he has more likely than not, he has pull than he doesn't. I can't imagine that he hasn't, like, it's the beginning of the season, it's the beginning of filming, and he hasn't talked to anybody and said, how's she doing? I feel like that's one of his friends. Like, because she wouldn't be on the show if he didn't want her on the show.
Yeah.
What you're saying makes sense in
I just don't think he's...
It's an option.
Yes.
Whitney probably doesn't have a ton of pull. He had a good idea. He knew these people. His mom is who she is. He probably met somebody at BravoCon or met Andy and was like,
I think I have the pretty
here's
straight
a
line
fucking,
to it.
pilot thing. I think he went and shot some stuff and then shopped it around. So like he has that. But Whitney's not an EP, not a real one. So he's not getting anything. They're slapping 2 EPs from the network on there, 1 from the fucking production company, and Whitney's getting a pat on the head and maybe allowed
And he gets
to go
to say, I have a
Crafty.
show on TV.
Exactly. What not probably, but another option is that they have been friends for 10 or 15 years. She is struggling with this thing. She did say, oh, I just lost 15 pounds or 10 pounds, 15 more to go. And you were her buddy and she was fucking mowing down a cupcake. Maybe you're the type of friend that could be like, bro, that's the last thing you fucking need right now. And she could be like, dude, I know, but I'm at your mom's and it was fucking munching a cupcake.
Well,
and that's when Miss Pat and them were like, well, there goes that idea. And she gave up on grandkids and everything.
Yes, and I'm here for Miss Pat all day, every day. I also think, you know how they say when you first meet someone, you're not meeting them, you're meeting their representative. If you're not a full-time cast member, you can dip in and out and you're only going to see this person's representative.
Yeah.
Because they're not there enough for you to see behind the curtain and see who Oz really is.
Yeah.
Okay?
No, So I don't think that I think that he has chosen to not be on, because I think he has seen himself in action and is like, I think his mom probably said, you are not going to be a full-time cast member on this show.
I don't think he ever wanted to be a full-time cast member. I think
He was for the first 2 seasons, though.
Not really. He was
Whitney?
never...
Season 1 for sure. Season 2.
But like what I mean is like...
Something happened. I can't remember what
It was
happened.
the
I
Catherine
can't
stuff.
remember.
He didn't
it
come.
might have been
It
the
was
Catherine
after the
stuff.
Catherine stuff. I'm telling you, he
But
had to
I'm
come to
with you.
Jesus with
I
Pat, and
think-
she said,
Yeah, I
our
think his
family does
mom
not
was
do
like,
trash.
Yeah, you're not. Yeah,
He never got into the muck and mire of the show, I guess is my point.
But I think
With
it was
Catherine, he
his
did.
mom.
Yes, but here's my point. With even when in season 1, when he was there, he wasn't real. You can go to a party and never be on the dance floor, right? So nobody really knows who you are. You're not fucking dancing with us. You're not eating with us. You're just like sitting in the corner having a fucking glass of your $2,000 scotch. I think even when he was on more, he was still the guy in the corner who, when you got off the dance floor, he would say a few words with you and then you'd walk away.
Yeah, he was trying to produce himself. Always from the beginning.
That's exactly
way more
right.
hardcore than anybody else was.
And
Well,
so
all through season 1, and I think it blew up in season 2, maybe, I could be wrong, but like, did they or didn't they with him and Catherine?
Yeah.
of course they had sex.
Sure, but that was like, he was a big part of the first season and a half.
Yes, what I'm saying is you never saw the next morning her in bed with him. He's always produced himself from a kind of hermetically sealed place of like, I'm not getting dirty like you guys are getting dirty, okay? And so the more he keeps removing himself in that sense, the less you see of who he really is.
Yeah.
And so my point is, when you meet someone and you're just meeting the representative, and then all of a sudden it's like when you work with someone and then you guys go out to a dinner and you have a few glasses of wine, you're like, oh, you're actually really cool. I now see who you are. I feel with him, because you said like, oh, he's the first person to be like, wait, guys, I don't know if this is cool. I think he is a little bit of like a pretentious elitist guy who probably is like if you look at all of his girlfriends, they're very thin women. Like, I think he lives in a world where it's like, oh, she's heavy. Like, he is looking at women this way. I think he does have a thing with class and all this other stuff. But we're just not seeing it because he's producing himself. And I'm not saying he's a racist or whatever. But my point in all of this is, I think when he said that, I think that's who he actually is. I don't think he was trying to produce anything. Even if he was, I think it was a poor choice of producing because of all that stuff. I think that is part of who he... If he was a full-time cast member and really letting his freak flag fly, I think we would see more of that.
Yeah. He is that guy. Not at his mother's dinner table.
Oh, I totally think at his mother's... I think if the cameras weren't there, it would be 10 times worse. Like, oh my God, you see how fat this... And I'm not talking about Molly. I'm saying how he would talk about anyone.
But the cameras are on. That's what I'm saying. Like, this guy is so produced of himself, by his mother. This moment, I don't believe he would have said such a risque thing that was not intentional. That's all I'm saying. I agree with you on everything about this guy. Everything I'm talking about is him being so fucking self-aware. It's why he removed himself from the show, or his mother removed himself from it after 2 seasons, because he cannot deal with that kind of thing. So that kind of slip up, I don't take Whitney to be a dumbass. Like, I think that Whitney doesn't slip up like that on camera at his mother's dinner table on Easter Sunday. Like, that's all I'm saying.
I get it. I don't know. I think he...
Yeah.
I think, that's where... But I'm so curious if people want to comment and say if they think it was a produced moment. Like him dropping that.
Well, Mike is this should have been your take, but I'm the conspiracy theorist. I'm taking what's not in front of me and going, what else could it be?
And I see your point fully. I just don't think that that's what it was. But I'm curious. Comment if whatever you think, because I want to know. And you don't think it was a produced moment? Him saying that strategically to get her to kind of, come on, girl, perform.
I don't think so. But I don't, not because I wouldn't put that past Whitney. Like, I think that Whitney has that in him, but I also think Whitney has been wanting to make music and make movies and be a part of entertainment for so long and has not been successful, and then hit a fucking pot of gold. And now he's probably like, I'm going to go fucking get me some wafy models. I'm going to go to Cannes. I'm going to go make a movie. I'm the executive producer of Southern Charm, motherfucker. Whitney, are you coming to set? No. Why? I think probably one of the other executive producers, maybe I could be like, see them watching fucking cuts and being like,
calling him and saying,
fucking boring as shit.
You like your friend,
hey, dude,
right?
Why don't you call your friend fat? And he's like, okay. But even that, like, I'm leaning towards my theory where a little bit towards you that like maybe Whitney's just a dick and doesn't like fat girls. And again, that girl's not fat, but like I get that like he's into fucking heroin chic girls. So like anybody over 105 is like,
he would look at me and be like, "Oh, she's like a Kardashian.
Dude,
she's
you're
so curvy,
fucking chunky as hell." But like I think that it probably could be there if they are really good friends, and she is dealing with this thing, that it could be just a way of him being.
But then
like,
she would have said that. She would have been like, "No,
she
guys,
wouldn't have, not at the first table, like the first being invited. You know, like that's her first thing. She's new. She just got invited to Miss Pat's. Maybe like I don't know. She might have felt uncomfortable to say anything about it.
If they were all picking on him, she would have been like, "No, guys, you don't have to pick on him. I told him to go hard on me because I really am dedicated to being disciplined in my diet."
Yeah. Maybe.
I'm just saying the math ain't math. And you could totally be right, Nat. I still think even if he was saying it to produce a moment, that ain't the moment.
Yeah, no.
We don't
totally.
just stop talking about people's bodies.
But what I will stand by for myself is that Molly is a no one, nothing as of now. You know, unless she goes after the Craig thing that she used to nail Craig or used to send
nudes
or
whatever, saucy pics.
It might not. She might be too scared to push on that as she should be.
You're right. She's not a spark plug as of yet. I think I just root for the underdog, and I feel like there's sweet elements to her personality that we've been shown, and I'm just curious to like. I just want her to win. I want her to, you know, like get if she wants to be a professional, whatever that music instrument she plays is, whatever it is. I think I'm just hoping that she pops, but she might not.
I know. For me, it's Lala's only. I don't have time for these to figure out if you're gonna pop. Like I want to coming in hot.
According to Whitney, she's about to pop. It's fat girl.
You don't get away with it. Like Whitney
we are cutting
you're not
that.
An executive
That's
producer. You know what's funny is that I
though.
heard. I know that's true.
Just nobody watches my show.
I saw Craig in an interview and like going back throughout the years, but they were like, "Well, what about season 1?" He goes, "Oh, season 1? I didn't even think this was real. I just thought Whitney. Like I didn't even believe Whitney." He's like, I was like, this isn't happening. Whitney this is one of Whitney's fucking, oh, there's some camera guys coming over. Like, I just think that's funny that like Whitney's the guy that was like, oh, we're shooting this movie.
Because he's always
has always been doing that.
Trying to make fetch happen.
Yeah. And so
we're doing
the
a
first
sizzle
whole
reel.
Season, Craig was like, I thought this whole thing was fake. Also, do you know how Madison got on the show? She was glam.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny.
She was like, at first I wasn't even like a real cast member. Like they would just say like, oh, come to this party. We'll pay you $1,000. And so she would do that. And then she said it took like, I didn't even realize until I watched the season that I led that season. She's like, I had no idea. And then they asked her like, were you pissed that you weren't getting like full cast pay? And she was like, I can't remember what she said. I feel like she was like, things changed after that season or whatever. But I think that would be so funny. If you don't ever really know, because with reality shows, it really is all about the edit. Like it's whatever they can fucking make out of something. And so the whole time you don't really know, like you might think that you're the fucking A story the whole time. And then you see yourself and you're like, oh snap, I was not the A story. The fucking girl, the girl that does my makeup is the A story. Like that's interesting to me.
But if she's more of a dynamic person, she will. Well,
yeah, I mean, obviously like she's fucking, she's the Lala of Southern Charm. I don't know. Lala's just so like she's my go-to for all, like every franchise has one.
Yeah.
Teresa's like a next level one, so I'm not saying everybody needs a Teresa, but like Lala's that
Bethany
like,
Frankel.
Yeah,
the like Michael Jordan of Housewives.
Yeah, like they can act a fool, but you're like, but I follow where she's. I'm following her. Like you know.
I'm still here and excited for the season. I know you guys are like.
I'll be excited when JT leaves and like some shit happens. It is boring. It's just been boring. It's been a boring couple episodes. Like literally both episodes have been filled with JT screaming about stupid shit that doesn't
I don't disagree.
Make any sense. None of this should make it in, if you want my opinion.
Actually really boring, but I didn't feel like it was boring when I was writing. Like what the season is doing is like
Good night.
Forcing a lot of like.
Are we done or are we going still?
Oh, you got somewhere to be?
Well, I'm going to piss myself. So I can wait if we're still going.
This season, I
Just
find that
don't
we're
cut
just
to the
psychoanalyzing everyone for the characters that they've always been and shown us to be and who they are still today, even though like they all say they've gone under these, oh, I'm transformed or I'm a new man. I hallucinated my way through all my issues and now everything's fine. But it's really been a non-eventful. It's been
2 episodes.
uneventful
100%.
2 episodes. It's just like, oh, Shep be Sheppin'. Like,
No, I totally agree. I need some axione.
Yeah.
I wonder if reality shows get to a point where they get too big for their britches.
Senioritis. It's like
Not senioritis, successitis. Like, you did it. You got you're 9 years, 10 years. Like, that's a big deal for a reality show.
Totally.
You're all successful now. For the most part, you got your side gigs. Like, you're kind of boring now.
no,
Like,
but this is what I mean with senioritis. It's like you're not showing up to algebra trying to hustle and pass the class the same way you were when you were a
Yeah.
sophomore. You already got into your college. Like
Just
you already
think-
have your
yeah.
endorsement deals, your restaurants.
the same
you're
thing
out.
happened with Vanderpump. That show would have recast 2 seasons ago if those two didn't fuck.
If you go back and you watch early Vanderpump, that show is fucking good.
We also have 32 minutes of hard drive space. Like and subscribe.
Send hard drives.
Send hard drives.
Send nudes. Just kidding.
No,
Listen.
also nude.
I just send anytime someone says send me something, I just say send nudes.